Welcome to the Tesla Economist. Please hit the thumbs up and remember to subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon. Elon and Tesla did it. They achieved volume production back in 2018. Still, to this date, no other EV manufacturer has reached volume production. We continually hear about how Tesla has made all these absolutely incredible achievements in their superior EV technology. But don't let the EV specifications take all the limelight. It's also the manufacturing capabilities of this company that helped achieve this. And many times Elon has gone on to state just how important manufacturing is. China was a very poor country, which had a lot of low-cost labor. Eventually, China joined the WTO in 2001 and became the global manufacturing powerhouse it is today. This army of low-cost manufacturing labor has thus hindered manufacturing innovation, and for some time. FYI, China entering the free market has been responsible for getting the most people out of poverty over the last 2 decades. But now there is a company that needs more. There is a lot of manufacturing to be done to transition the global energy and transport industries to become renewable. Current manufacturing techniques are not sufficient. Tesla need to leverage more robots and automation, remove unnecessary processes, etc. Manufacturing now has a reason to innovate. Anyway, when we hear Elon talk about various aspects of the car, we don't hear him say things like designing the octavalve was excruciating, or making the structural battery packs, or even 4680s, although they were by no means at all easy. In fact, so much so that no one else yet seems to be close to anything remotely. But again, we're back to talking about the EV specs themselves. Now, when it comes to manufacturing, well, it was volume production that Elon said was excruciating. At least doing it with positive cash flow. Do you get it? All the other things that Elon is not saying are hard still seem to be far too hard for everyone else anyway. So just imagine how hard volume production with positive cash flow must be if Elon says that's not only hard, but excruciating. Oh, and that's excruciating for Elon and all the best engineers in the world, all rethinking manufacturing from first principles. Therefore, perhaps the word we might be looking for anyone else to achieve positive cash flow volume production might be impossible. Then why doesn't Elon help them? Won't that transition the world faster and be more in line with the mission? Well, the world is not car manufacturing constrained. It's battery constrained. Whether the batteries end up in a Chinese EV, Volkswagen, or energy storage, they will not be wasted. What would be wasted is other EV companies ramping up to volume production, competing for scarce resources against Tesla. Thus, these other EV manufacturers make inferior, less efficient EVs over the opportunity cost of Tesla using those batteries with more efficient EVs. Therefore, it would be in line with Tesla's mission not to help, as everyone is competing for batteries. Alright, so how close are other EVs getting to volume production? So far, the Chinese EVs seem to max out at around 10,000 units a month. The BYD Dolphin just reached it recently, but the BYD Han EV doesn't seem to have increased any higher from 10,000 the previous month. Anyway, it will be interesting to see if they can actually hit volume production or not. I would say the BYD Dolphin likely has the highest chance of any, what with it being so small and basic. The Chinese EV companies are halfway to volume production already, but something tells me the next half gets a lot harder. What does this even mean? Well, if one production line is capable of producing 10,000 units a month and another production line is capable of 40,000 units a month, well, the second is costing 1/4 the amount on capital equipment per car. I know we think about how Tesla saves costs in the cars by removing radars and lumbar support or gear levers. But the capital equipment is also a cost too. It's not just about the parts. If you have a factory that produces 4 times as many units on the same size production line, or shorter even, as its Tesla, then you can generate significantly lower production costs and operating expenses. And obviously there is a big difference in savings between 10,000 units and 40,000 units. Of course, we've seen Tesla hit rates of over 80,000 units a month already, and that's not even with the new manufacturing processes. Anyone else get the idea this 500,000 a year capacity from Berlin might be a little sandbagged? It may not be essential for the competition to hit volume production. It will just likely mean that they really struggle to ever undercut Tesla on price, and let alone doing it at a profit. Some legacy autos can at least justify a higher price tag than a Tesla though, through the prestige and value of their brand. For example, you wouldn't expect Ferrari to try and undercut Tesla on the price of a new EV. Of course, the electric Ferrari would also be slower than the Tesla. The Chinese brands have no class, heritage, history, or prestige. Why would you pay extra for a Chinese car over a Tesla? Well, rationally, you wouldn't really, unless you wanted something different. But then you would likely choose something with more brand value. Unless, of course, Tesla has a 2-year waiting list or something, and there aren't many other options. The Chinese are at a dilemma. They need to cut costs much more to make a profit, as their price point is below Tesla. They will never be able to come close to Tesla on the cost of an EV, like for like, which makes it really tough. There is really only a chance of a slim net profit these Chinese EV companies can make, and that's per vehicle. They would still need to sell millions of these vehicles to make decent profits, and even then, they probably still won't fit into their current market capitalizations. As we're saying for legacy though, at least some of the brands can justify higher price points than Tesla to possibly generate profits. But again, the whole volume production thing does make it hard. What if they can only produce up to 10,000 units a month per production line? That's just over 100,000 vehicles a year. Just think how many production lines they would need, and don't think in terms of gigafactories either. The largest car-making manufacturing plant in the world, with a floor area of 70 million square feet, is Volkswagen's Wolfsburg plant, and manufactures around 1 million units a year. Now, that doesn't really mean a lot to most of you probably, so let's compare. As far as I can tell, 70 million square feet is 6.5 kilometers squared. Now, the footprint of Gigatexas is 0.4 kilometers squared. Even if that factory was 3 full stories, then that would be the floor space of 1.2 kilometers squared. Still 1/5 the floor space of Wolfsburg. Now, if Texas was able to hit a 2 million a year run rate, then that would make Texas around 10 times more efficient per squared foot than Volkswagen. Remember, it's not just the speed of the production line, but the size of it too. Gigapresses save 600 robots. Those numbers are a little rough though, sure, and there are lots of other things to factor in, but I think you get the point. If other EV companies want to deliver a serious number of EVs, they will require huge factories. But actually, Legacy Auto already have these factories, and perhaps a lot of the capital equipment. They may be able to recycle a lot of what they're already using, except this capital equipment are now the likes of old robots now. Tesla have just bought all the latest robots, and all the ones designed specifically to the task at hand. Old factories with old technologies designed around different products in different industries will just mean more reasons Legacy continue to fall behind. Right, this whole volume production thing really makes other EV companies hit a brick wall. How do they get past this? I don't hear too many people even mention this either as one of Tesla's competitive advantages. It goes further than the actual product offering, which Tesla absolutely destroys in. We are just inundated with Tesla outperforming on range, supercharger networks and FSD. These are more competitive advantages in owning the actual product rather than the business itself. Volume production is a huge competitive advantage. Even if BMW made a more appealing EV than Tesla, BMW still couldn't come close to making enough of them. Of course, BMW would lose a fortune on each of those cars too. We need a lot of EVs to replace the global fleet. Tesla are the only ones showing signs of making a dent. Last year, Tesla had about 25 to 30% of the global battery supply. Next year, it could be as high as 50%. Of course, Tesla's batteries will make more EVs than the competition's, so 50% EV battery supply would equate to more than 50% of EV supply, except, of course, the cheap Chinese EVs with small batteries that skew the figures. Perhaps the Chinese EVs' hope is that the entire ICE and gasoline industries completely crumble and there won't be enough EVs available for everyone, so people will end up buying their EVs even if they raise the prices to make a profit. And loosely speaking, there'll be some element of truth there potentially. But I envision their main hope is that battery prices will come down over time. This is a much bigger deal for Legacy compared to most of the Chinese though. The Chinese batteries are already significantly lower cost due to them using LFP batteries. Legacy Auto's batteries costs have a long way to go still. As for positive cash flow for the Chinese EVs, I would have thought eventually their batteries alone should reduce even a further $3,000 still over the next few years. They just need to improve efficiencies like powertrains and reduce weight, and perhaps over time they can achieve better ranges. Just a 10% increase from where they are now would make a huge difference. Most of the Chinese EVs have about enough capital remaining to last about 2 to 3 years at their current burn rates. BYD can last longer as it's funded by its profitable hybrid business, so they have until that time to turn a profit. As for the other non-Chinese EVs, well, they've marketed themselves differently. The Chinese just went head-to-head with Tesla and tried to beat them on price. The US EV startups have positioned themselves, like Lucid, as the luxurious EV. Perhaps that will mean they can charge a higher price and get away with it, and perhaps they won't need to achieve run rates of 10,000 units a month to achieve profitability, or else it wouldn't be easy to make it to profitability at their burn rate. Just to reiterate, Tesla hit volume production in Fremont 4 years ago in a factory that was not purpose-built without using manufacturing techniques like die-cast molds. Tesla had very little experience all around in making cars, even at that stage, yet they hit volume production. Thanks for listening. please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.